themes are themes are simple. Themes are very simple, but at the same time, I guess they are definitely needed. I know that I use them and I rely on them quite often. I just don't like the misuse of them as we're using them sort of today.
Wow.
What's up, everybody? My name is Michael Stevenson, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we're talking about themes. So at this point, as I hope you guys know, or if this is your first video, then I don't know if this is a good first video for you. But if it is your first video, then thank you. Welcome to the channel. I would kindly ask that you go see my other video. I'm trying to build a sequential thing so that there's episodes and that they aren't out of order. The reason why I'm trying to do that is because I am trying to establish a certain language, a certain shorthand between you and I. Just go back, see those other videos. I also have a introduction to these videos. This is specifically my entertainment industry video series on my channel. I have other videos out there. These are specifically focused on the entertainment industry at hand. Tonight, I kind of just wanted to talk about theme. Hopefully, this is sort of a more laid back chat. I don't really go in depth into like theme and what, and that's in that manner. But I did want to touch on theme and how I feel like it in and of itself has somewhat become not a lightning rod per se, but it is not being, I feel like it's almost not being used correctly somehow. I really just wanted to dig in on that. In one of the previous videos, when I believe I was talking about resonance and the importance of certain writing elements within good writing or even great writing, when I was talking in that other video, what I was basically saying is that good writing or even great writing they have one of three resonance points. Most great writing tries to have all three resonance points. One was narrative resonance, another was emotional resonance, and then the third was thematic resonance. And so I wanted to just talk on theme for a little while and I guess expand on thematic resonance and why it is such an important thing, but also more importantly, why theme has taken on a very interesting and not very good meaning. So basically, theme is, number one, let me be very clear. Theme is not plot. It is not really the plot of, nor the storyline of an actual movie. Some people weirdly enough think that it is. Yes, it tends to set up the plot, but it is not generally the plot. Theme is something that basically is something that plays over and over throughout the story that we are supposed to pick up on in subtle ways. So basically, theme, when narrowed down, it's one of the driving forces that connects most, if not all, of the characters. It is, in some ways, it is the higher thought process that is motivating the actions of a lot of the characters. So when you look at themes, and especially important themes throughout a lot of things, and again, I'm not going to dig deep into this topic. There are actually some really good people right here on YouTube who have videos on theme, and specifically like 4 writers, and they talk about theme and things of that nature. If you want to check those out, I think it's just like you could probably type in theme for The Dark Knight. I think was a good one. But to go off the Dark Knight one, the theme for the Dark Knight trilogy film directed by Christopher Nolan was that of fear. And so fear plays a big role in the film. It's not called The Dark Knight, but it's called Batman Begins. What happens is that pretty much every single character within the film has to deal with and confront the idea of fear. Scarecrow, he is someone who basically gives out fear, okay? So he uses the tactic of fear, of inflicting fear upon people in order to control people and to gain more power or gain their secrets, etc., etc. The mobs kind of fear each other in some ways, and now they're fearing this new figure that has come onto the scene, that being Batman. But then Bruce Wayne, Batman himself, he has to deal with fear in his own way. And so we'll look at him specifically. His idea of fear, it is formed obviously by his childhood. Everybody knows the story of Bruce Wayne and how he becomes Batman. But in the actual movie, his first encounter with fear is actually with the bats in the cave. And then his father saves him. And then he has a second encounter with fear when his parents die in the alley. And so then he realizes that he needs to conquer his fear, he needs to become something other than what he is. And so in order to become Batman, in order to become the hero, the superhero that he wants to ultimately be, he realizes that he must conquer his fear. And ultimately, part of the journey of the movie is him conquering that fear while learning other lessons and building in other abilities that he ultimately will use in order to become Batman. So know the difference here is that the plot is how he goes from boy to man to Batman, whereas the theme is fear itself, and specifically how he conquers fear. The theme is almost twofold here, because he is not the only one who has to deal with the idea of fear. Fear in some ways, or to a wider extent, the theme in some ways is it does two things. Number one, it tries or seeks to clarify the actual goal. But then on top of that, theme also tries to tell us or expose to us exactly how the character, generally the protagonist, is going to experience the world, how they are going to go through the world while trying to accomplish that goal. Generally, theme is not nearly as important to the audience or to the consumer as it is to the writer specifically, and then also to the director. It basically makes a through line, or it keeps steady the story and the story elements, which can potentially get out of control and off the rails. It makes sure that they stay on a particular track that continues to reinforce what the actual journey is for the characters, or what sort of, I guess journey works, what sort of journey that they are on. It tries to reinforce that, even though they may not be doing the exact thing that they seem to need to be doing in order to accomplish whatever goal they have set out to do. It also helps to build conflict within a story. It helps to do that by setting up two or more different sides to one particular problem or issue. And so it creates, from the goal, it creates an issue that can be solved in different or multiple ways by both the protagonist and the antagonist, or however many protagonists or antagonists we may have. It is important, but it is not nearly as important as it has been made out to be lately. Really good writing is going to have more than one theme going at the same time. Let me also be very clear about this. I know some people, or a lot of people these days, know a lot of business, Hollywood business lingo, and therefore they know about A storylines and B storylines, and all these different storylines that a piece of writing may have. A secondary theme actually does not have to apply directly to the B level or B story arc or characters. Going back to Batman Begins, a lot of people know that the first theme is fear, but a lot of people seem to either miss or just don't credit that the second fear is destruction of self and system. We go back to Bruce, and we also include in here the main villain of the film, Ra's al Ghul. So it is actually Ra's al Ghul's stated goal: destroy society so that it can be rebuilt in a image that essentially would be more ideal, obviously for him, or at least this is how he thinks, because society has gotten too far away from whatever the ideal is that is in his mind that he thinks society should be. So in a way, he wants to destroy all of society. But in a similar way, Bruce realizes that in order to become something else, he not only has to conquer his fear, whether it's the fear of dark, the fear of bats, the fear of being alone, the fear of depression, whatever, but that he also has to essentially destroy the boy that he used to be, in order to become not just a man, but specifically the Batman that he wants to be. It plays directly into that old quote that you have to kill off old parts of you. He is very much so all about destroying not only what was previously himself, but also the systems in which his parents, the systems in which made him into wanting to destroy himself. So the system that led to his parents' death, all of the corruption in Gotham and things of that nature, that is actually a secondary theme, and both of those things apply to the primary characters and are carried out and fulfilled by the primary characters. So again, theme does not have to be specific to certain groups of characters. They can apply essentially to all of the characters in something. Themes are only halfway essential fundamental to the story, which is weird because almost everything has a legitimate theme that you can see, especially these days. So I myself, when I write, and again, you have to understand that this is only for my master works, as I call them, or my master series. I tend to, and I'll make a video on what my master works are. I've mentioned them in other videos, but I guess it's obvious that I should make a video on my own writing. In my master works, I tend to use somewhere between 3 to 5 themes all at once, stacked on top of each other. So the first 2 themes are supposed to be obvious to anybody who is reading what I'm putting down. They are very, very straightforward, right there in your face. You're supposed to get them. Then the third one is where it's supposed to get a little bit tricky because it's supposed to be a lot more mental work to get to that theme. And then, of course, the 4th and 5th themes are generally so tough that you tend to have to know some of my work before, or in some cases, I just have to straight up describe it and tell it to you, tell it to people, because you just might not be able to make those leaps to get all the way to that thing. I mentioned that because I'm saying that while there is no at this moment in time, while there is no specific trouble with themes per se right now, in the use of themes within all of entertainment, whether it be movies, television, or the written word, novels, what have you, there does seem to be a terrible twist in how we use themes as consumers. Because I think that what we've essentially done is that we have started using primary themes, or the first theme in something. And again, the first theme is supposed to be the one that you get the easiest. We've started to use primary themes in order to bolster genius treatment. For those of you who don't know what the genius treatment is, please go back and refer to a video I made. It's a genius treatment and genius bias, or you can flip the names, whatever, so that you understand and I don't have to go all the way through that definition again. So basically what I'm saying is that the primary theme is supposed to be the thing that is literally right there on the surface the entire time. But what we've seemed to have done as of late is that we have taken the primary theme and we have acted as if it is so immensely poignant, as if it is so deep, as if it is so meaningful, and as if it is so thought-provoking and introspective that it is something that must needs be, I guess, exalted to some extent. Like, in other words, we have taken the primary theme of a lot of films, and so long as we like the film even a little bit, we've taken that primary theme and we have said, oh my God, this is art, this is cinema, this is so immensely important. We've assigned a level of not only intelligence but importance to this theme, even though it's literally supposed to be right there. Everyone is supposed to get it. Like, I don't know how else to say that. Now, I know I sound super pretentious there. I apologize, but still, it is supposed to be right there. This is yes, I could use a potentially a Marvel film in this case, in this scenario, but I would rather go with a film that was kind of, it wasn't a very good film, but yet there are plenty of people calling this film a classic and are saying that it is one of the best films, especially one of the best horror films of the last 10 years. And that film is Hereditary. Hereditary is a slow, plodding movie that is incredibly pretentious. It feels like it is weighty, but yet it doesn't really have much weight to it at all. And unfortunately, most people, especially younger viewers, have taken to calling this movie a classic, calling this movie amazing, calling this movie all sorts of superlatives and things that it probably doesn't deserve, unfortunately. So the primary theme of the movie is essentially how trauma or pain or suffering or whatever you want to call it, some amalgamation of badness and sorrow, can sometimes be passed down from generation to generation. It is literally in the title. The theme is in the title, that things, badnesses can actually be hereditary. So then if it's in the title that the theme is hereditary, then you automatically should know that the movie is going to technically be about, or it is the most important characters in the movie are the children. So why then is it that when they use this convention, and it's a very familiar old convention that has been used in movies for decades, they use this convention of focusing or opening the film on the character that is the most important. And what they do is that they open it through on the sun, and the sun is being viewed through like the lens of a dial house, basically. So they zoom in on this dial house, and then he's like in there and he's waking up. And of course, I believe the first person that he comes into contact with is his mother. So many people that I've seen online seem to refer back to this and they say, oh my God, it's so genius. Like, okay, why? Like I almost, and yes, again, I know that a lot of them were young, so maybe they don't know these conventions, but also that almost rings hollow in and of itself, because so many people know of film conventions now, like things that are used in films, that it is hard to introduce anything into the new lingo, the new language of visuality within films and in TV shows. It's hard to introduce something or to create a new visual that people have never seen before. Using this convention to focus in on the son, when you literally already know that the movie is, regardless of what the parents do and regardless of how they react to anything, you already know that the movie is about the boy. And then the movie continues to nail that home. It's like, how is this genius? This is the Goldilocks effect in reverse. Now, again, I didn't actually make a video for like a Goldilocks effect or anything, but if you remember, for those of you who have been here, I did talk in one of the videos, maybe it was the genius bias / genius treatment video, I actually don't know, but I did talk in one of the videos about how, especially in mystery writing, but in writing in general, writers have to make something that is not too pretentious or trying to be overly smart, because people will then say that, oh, it's overly smart or it's too pretentious, right? But they also can't make something too dumb, because that will then offend people if they can figure out what's going to happen next too quickly. This, I feel like, is it almost in reverse. What happens is that for some viewers, they are blown away by this type of convention and this type of structuring of movie plot and theme, even though, like I said, both the theme, the primary theme that is in Hereditary is right there, and it is reinforced multiple times. It's literally in the title. So taking any sort of old conventions and applying them in this way, it's like it adds almost, it doesn't subtract from the film, let me say that, but it doesn't really add something, I guess, a new wrinkle to the story as a whole. People who are horror fans or horror aficionados have probably seen plenty of times in which this sort of goes on. And yes, I know that I'm committing the death by comparison that I probably have already talked about. Hopefully I've already released that video, but if not, it's coming. But at the same time, I think what happens to some viewers is that, so some viewers think that, oh my God, it's genius. They give it the genius treatment. But then other viewers are sitting there and they're left to view it and they kind of say, that's it? That was the whole thing? That was the thing that people were, obsessing over? And I think what tends to happen is that they start to, in a weird way, feel a little dumb, not because the theme was too smart or because the writing was too smart, but actually because we have trained our minds in this society to, I guess, when the answer is a little too simple, we look for other things. So our minds start looking for other answers and other themes to add on to get our minds, I guess, to think in the same way, or to get that particular thing, that particular piece of art or entertainment or whatever, to the same place in our minds that it is in other people's minds, especially in other people's minds who we may love or appreciate, or that are personally in our own lives. Like, we're trying to see what it is that they see. This is, again, incredibly relevant with the Marvel films, right? Especially for people who want to continue to say that Marvel is cinema. This was probably most prevalent in Black Panther. I don't understand why people continue to say that Black Panther was this amazing and incredible feat as far as the narrative goes, or the themes go, when it literally was Thor Ragnarok, but with Black people. I mean, if you look at both films, they are pretty much the exact same, minus the love affair between, well, it wasn't really even a love affair all that much. They didn't show pretty much anything. They had a few conversations between T'Challa and oh god, I forgot the character's name, y'all. and of course Thor didn't have Jane around at all. But even still, they had some of the exact same things. Both of them had a family member come back. Both of them had their parents, specifically their fathers, lie to them about the kingdom and about, what sort of violence they may or may not have done in some sort of past evils. Both of them tried to make up for those past evils, those past mistakes. I mean, there were a lot of people who said that Black Panther was different because it was dealing with the struggle of Black people to rectify, the struggle of American Black people to rectify what it was and how Africans specifically could do what they did, I guess, to African Americans. How some Africans could actually sell other Africans into slavery, why they essentially never came to get us, so to speak, and why they helped American imperialism instead of hurting it. But that played out in other films in the MCU. So again, like, why is it any different now simply because it is in a different coating of skin, a different complexion? Well, frankly, nothing from what I can see, from what I could see. There was nothing that differentiated it and elevated it into something that, this is even better than all of the MCU things before. But I will say this, though. I feel that the way in which we now use theme has become one of the most prevalent ways that we give things the genius treatment. And the whole point of this video is that if we continue to use theme, especially just the primary theme, not like the secondary or third theme out, but if we use just the primary theme, which is supposed to be right there on the surface level, and we dig no deeper into things, and we use that theme in order to try to prove some semblance of intelligent or really smart writing, then I think what will happen is that we will start to dull our senses in a way to good writing or bad writing. Like we won't be able to tell the difference as much because we've elevated stuff that is not necessarily subpar, but it's definitely not up here, and yet we're treating it like it is up here. We need to be very, very careful with how we look at theme in movies and how we talk about the themes in movies, because it may be giving too much credit to themes, to the pieces of our entertainment that we are consuming. It may be giving too much credit to them to say that they nailed a theme or that they didn't nail a theme, creating a kind of bias in our minds that things need to have these themes that are incredibly complex. So yeah, I think that's what I wanted to say. That's pretty much it for right now. I'm going to talk about theme and some other things, of course, but yeah, I think that's pretty much it for everybody. So while I don't have an official sign off yet, I guess I should do the whole please like, comment, share, and if you so desire and you want to see more, subscribe. But more importantly, I will ask that you please go and purchase one of my books. They are mostly ebooks, and pretty much they are all under $10. See if any of my work is actually any good, if it lives up to any of the things that I'm talking about here on my channel, specifically with the entertainment industry videos. So please go purchase my books. All of my links are down below. Thank you.